Hello and welcome to this special, don't really know what to call this. This is a weekend preview slash Zone League show for this week. The reason this video is being posted instead of the normal previews, apart from really wanting a break after however many weeks it's been in a row. I think it's been about 20 weeks of just, non-stop videos and previews, and it is round 14 in UFM First Division, so that's 14 solid weeks definitely in a row. This weekend the forecast looking very gloomy, I'll say the least. I can't see too many games being played, especially Sunday. Sundays just, it doesn't look good at all for Sunday games. Let's start with Zone Premier League results from last weekend, Week 8, Round 8, where Cardiff City 3 defeated University 1, which really goes against University's form as of late. They've sort of got a couple wins on the bounce, but they go down to Cardiff, who are still second, and they're still, I guess, in the hunt for the minor premiership. It will be a big game when they play Mayfield. I'm not sure when that is. That is not this weekend, so there you go. We'll move on. Newcastle Suns 1, drawing with Swansea FC 1. Which, the Suns have drawn 5 games. A quick look shows that is the most draws of any Zone League first grade team going. 5 draws in 8 games with a win and 2 losses. They have to convert those draws into wins. You're talking already that's 10 points dropped. They could potentially be sitting in second place, 4 points off the league lead if they had won all those games instead of drew. Swansea, first draw of the season, still in the top 4 and on track for finals at the moment. The defending grand finalists, going down last year, of course, in penalties. Garden Suburb 2, drawing New Lambton 2, Les Wallace and Wes Price, the goal scorers there for Garden Suburb. Their first point of the season. It's only taken 8 weeks, and that's big. It took them weeks and weeks and weeks to find the net, and then they did. They found it 3 times last weekend and still lost 4-3. Now they've found it twice and they've drawn, and who knows, maybe this week they might pick up a win if the game is on, which I have doubts about. But definitely Garden Suburb getting their confidence going. I'm going to try not to fall asleep at the first 3 minutes of the video. That would not be good. New Lambton in 4th place, they remain there. Dudley Redhead 3 defeated by Mayfield United 4. Dudley second last, they put in definitely a good performance here at home, but the league leaders Mayfield just, that's the most goals they've conceded this year, 3. So I'll give Dudley credit for that, but Mayfield are just killing it, and they continue to do that. 22 points from 8 games. As we look ahead to this weekend, Beresfield United 2 were winners over Morisset 0. Beresfield finally getting back in the winners' circle, much needed 3 points. For this weekend, Week 9, New Lambton 2 to defeat the Newcastle Suns 0. I'm not going to go through and talk about why I tip each tip, because these games are not going to be played. The majority of these games will be washed out, and so I'm not going to try and talk too much. Suns lower table, New Lambton top 4, there's the excuse there for the tip. Swansea 3 to defeat Dudley 1, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Mayfield 3 to defeat Beresfield 0, the league leaders to continue their form. University 3 to defeat Garden Suburb 1, that's a risky tip, but that's something I've gone with there. Morisset 2-2 with Cardiff. Fairly a big game for both sides there. I can't stop yawning. I should really just call it quits for today, but no, we'll get this video done. Zone League 1 results for last weekend. Raymond Terrace 2 defeating Warners Bay 1. 2 goals to Kevin Roberts for the Terrace. Takes them above Warners Bay in the third place. That didn't take them above them. What took them above them was a midweek win. Tuesday night, Kotara South 3, or it might have been Wednesday. Kotara South 3 defeated by Raymond Terrace 4. Morgan Reynolds 3 goals and Kevin Roberts again. So Raymond Terrace into third place, and they are definitely doing well in their first season in this competition. Definitely looking on track for finals, to say the very least. I'm going to press pause and go and get some right back. Trying to just get through this video. I can't stop yawning. My apologies for that. I've had a couple of days off and maybe, I don't know, overslept. But it's good to have a break. Cooks Hill United 6 defeating Nelson Bay 2 is the next result. Cooks Hill just too good there for the bottom placed Nelson Bay team. Beresfield were beaten by Stockton Sharks 3-1. Stockton all of a sudden find themselves right on the edge of the top 4. They've got some good form at the moment. Big game for them this weekend. Barnsley 2 defeated by Charlestown 3. It was 3-0 at half time, so credit to Barnsley for producing a little bit of a comeback, but they stay very low on the table. 5 points behind 8th place Kotara. It's not really where they want to be. Charlestown still definitely among a few teams that are in talks, in the talk for finals, in the discussion for finals. Kotara South 2 drawing Jesmond FC 2. Big result for Kotara South here. First team this year to take points off of Jesmond, and you really can't go wrong with that. This weekend, Stockton versus Raymond Terrace. I like to call this a derby of sorts. It's a fair way, but there's definitely that similarity between these two teams, and I'm sure they're merged in the cricket competition, Stockton Raymond Terrace. So there's probably a few players from both sides who might actually play cricket together. Who knows? But definitely going to be not passionate. I don't know if that's right. A competitive game. Raymond Terrace in 3rd, Stockton in 5th. Big game for both. I've gone 2-2. Jesmond FC 4 to defeat Barnsley 0. Pretty self-explanatory that. Kotara South to go to Nelson Bay and win 3-1. Charlestown 2-1 over Beresfield. That's an important game for both those teams. And Warners Bay versus Cooks Hill United, two teams that have had some battles in the past, the Zone League competition at various levels. I've gone Cooks Hill 3-2 away from home at John Street Oval. In Zone League 2 this previous weekend, New Lambton 1 drew Musselbrook FC 1. A result that, New Lambton, that's 4 draws, 4 losses and no wins. They've got to get wins. They've got a big one this weekend. They've got a huge game this weekend if it goes ahead. Merryweather advanced 4, defeating Warners Bay, Wallsend 3. Merryweather's biggest win of the season. First team to beat Warners Bay. What is this Warners Bay crap? First team to beat Wallsend this season. First team to take points off Wallsend this season. Merryweather suddenly back into equal 4th position. Craig Handy 2 goals, Josh Dinnery and Ryan Deemer. Big win for Merryweather. University FC 2 defeating Maryland Fletcher 1. Maryland sort of out of form at the moment. University still down lower portion of the table, just their 2nd win of the year. This thing's telling me that they've won 2, drawn 3 and they're on 6, so that's sort of wrong. But yeah, they're still sort of not where they want to be, but that's a decent win. Hunter Simba, talking about decent wins, Hunter Simba have done it again, 9-3 over Madawi FC. Madawi scoring 3 goals, I think that's their highest of the season. But again, they get absolutely smashed at the other end. 9 goals for Simba. They like these big scoring games, Hunter Simba. Again, 12 goals scored. Simba into 3rd place, on track for finals at the moment. Madawi have conceded 67 goals in 8 games, and the less said about that, probably the better. Hamilton Olympic 1-0 defeating Westlake Wildcats in a very hard-fought game. Great game from the Wildcats. Anything could have happened on that day, but they went down at Darling Street. Will be interesting to see what happens when they head out to RAF Mines for that replay. So this weekend, Westlake Wildcats hosting Merewether. I've gone 3-2 for Merewether. That could have gone either way. I can see Westlake's winning it, so that's a bit of a guess, if anything. Musselbrook 2-1 over University. Madawi play New Lambton, bottom of the table clash. New Lambton, they have to win this. 4 draws, 4 losses. This is their chance to win. Madawi just in all sorts. 2-0 is the scoreline there to New Lambton. Maryland Fletcher 1 to be defeated by Hamilton Olympic 5. That might be a bit overboard. Warners Bay again. Wallsend 6 to defeat Hunter Simba 3, just to keep with those high scoring games. That's a big game for Simba to go away to Wallsend. Who knows what might happen there. We move into Zone League 3, where I'll leave this result for last. We'll go through the others. Cahibah FC 2 drawing Dudley 2. I got sent the score 1-1, but yet on the website it says 2-2, so I'm not really sure there, but it's a draw nonetheless. RAF 0 defeated by Edgeworth FC 3. James Anderson 3 goals, a hat-trick. Edgeworth into the top 4. Hamilton Azuri continue their good form, just the 1 loss this year. 6-1 over the Abermain Rams. Sam Richardson 2 goals, Jackson Bush and Andy Bailey an own goal, and someone else who I went through the Azuri review of the game, very long review. I could not find that 6 goal scorers, I'm not sure on that one. Azuri 31-9 is their goal difference this year. Pretty impressive. Not as impressive as another team who took their goal difference to a whole new level last weekend. Argentine United 13 defeating Mayfield United 0. And wow, I don't know what to say about that. That is massive defeat for Mayfield. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if they had enough players, or players sent off or injured, or so that's just a flogging and a half. Cameron Cooper 2 goals, Johnny Santorelli 1, Quinton Connors 1, Ethan Wellings 1, Scott Caruso 1, and Ty Goldsmith, the top goal scorer in probably the whole Zone League competition, and maybe all the competitions New Esports covers. I don't know if there's someone who's had more goals than this guy. He's got 7 again. The second time this year he has scored 7 goals in one game. Someone somewhere is probably counting. It's probably over 30. I'd say it's over 30 in 7 games. I will probably contact Argentine and see exactly how many. It's definitely 20. It'd be 28 for sure. Which, about 28 goals in 7 games. That's crazy. Edgeworth play Hamilton Azuri tonight. I'm sort of still tossing up whether to go or not, depending on weather and stuff like that. Edgeworth 1-4, Hamilton Azuri to win that one is what I've got. I've got Argentine to go to Dudley and win 5-1, Cahibah to go to Abermain and win 3-1, and Bulwarra 2 to draw the RAF Williamtown FC 2 out there at Bulwarra. Again, a lot of these games, most if not all, will be called off. There's so much rain on the way, it's not funny. And that's the reason this weekend that New FM previews are not done properly. I couldn't have been bothered on Wednesday. I just wanted a break, to be honest. I feel like I've worked myself into the ground with the New FM previews. And again, it's the same stuff every week, so these are the tips anyway. We'll start with the under-17s games. Cooks Hill United 2 to defeat Wallsend 1. I keep saying Warners Bay instead of Wallsend. It's not, it couldn't be any further from there. Cooks Hill 2-1, this is a massive game. I don't have the tables on me at the moment, but Cooks Hill still, I believe, in the top 4. Wallsend haven't lost in a while. This is a big game in the 17s, probably the match of the day at the Athletics field. Athletics track, I should say. Singleton 3-1 over South Cardiff. Singo in some good form in the 17s. You know, the likes of Trey Pradlock scoring goal, Jacob Geddes scoring a few goals. Decent team. South Cardiff, though, very tricky. They won last week. I forget who they played. Someone. They played Cessnock. Lucas Emmett Morley getting a goal. Someone else getting a goal. Jake Sims from the penalty spot, I believe it was. Off the top of my head. 3-1 Singleton to win that in the 17s. Toronto versus Cessnock. Big game for Toronto. They need to win this. You know, they knocked off Lakes last week. They should knock off Cessnock. 2-0 is the score I've tipped there. Fortin versus Belmont Swansea. Fortin to be defeated 3-1 by Bell Swans. Bell Swans very good last week. Very unlucky not to get a win against Cooks Hill. Harrison Rapp getting a goal and Ross Valeri getting a goal last weekend. This is off the top of my head, so I'm happy that I'm remembering this. Lake Macquarie City versus West Wallsend, match of the round in the 17s. Top of the table clash, Westie on top. Lakes have lost 2 in a row. They've drawn before that, and I've tipped them to lose 2-1 to West Wallsend. I think Westie will just grind out this result. If the game goes ahead, let's be honest about that. It's going to be wet. If the game's on, it's going to be very sloggy sort of conditions. A slog fest, I guess you could call it. 2-1 Westie, and to move into premiership favouritism in the 17s with only 8 weeks to go until finals. So it's definitely a big game in terms of the premiership. Under 19s, Cooks Hill United 4 to defeat Wallsend 1. Cookers need to get back into form now. That's it. That's end of story. This is crucial for their season. They've lost 2 on the bounce. Unlucky against Cahaiba for that game to be rescheduled, but at the end of the day they were outplayed. And Cooks Hill definitely need to win this game, or else their finals their finals potential will take a very severe hit. Another team that's definitely on their tail. 2 teams actually, Singleton and South Cardiff, they collide. I've gone Singleton 3-1. A very well coached team, a very good team on their day, and they were last weekend 7-2 over Fortin. Nathan Hall looking to take it over 20 goals for the season. Toronto versus Cessnock, I've gone 2-2 between 2 sides who aren't really on their game at the moment and haven't been for the majority of the season. Fortin versus Belmont Swansea, I've gone Bell Swans 5-2 over Fortin. Bell Swans 19 is just looking to really solidify a spot in the top 4. And big game here, Lake Macquarie City versus West Wallsend, match of the round. Lakes 3-2. Again, that could probably be a lower score if the conditions, if the game's on, as I said in the 17s preview, and all these games on Sunday, it's going to be very muddy, very wet. We'll talk about the grounds in a second anyway. Under 23s, Cooks Hill 3-1 over Wallsend. This is must-win football. They simply have to stop drawing. They have to stop. I don't know what's happened with Cooks Hill in the 23s. I don't know what's happened with Wallsend in the 23s. Both these teams have fallen away. They both need to win. I've gone Cooks Hill 3-1. Singleton versus South Cardiff. Singo, tough side on their day, but Southie definitely a good team and looking to really move further in the top 4. 2-0 the tip there. Cessnock 2 to defeat Toronto Wobber 1 out there at Lyle Peacock. Fortin 2 to be defeated by Belmont Swansea 3. Bell Swans in the top 4, of course. And Lake Macquarie City 3 to defeat West Wallsend 0. In first grade, Cooks Hill United versus Wallsend. Big game for the Cookers. You can talk about that new look lineup last weekend. The likes of Asher Beasley, Milan Latau, Sam Hawke in there, Kaya Roth backing goals, and they've got a big game this weekend. One of their performances of the year last week, despite the loss. I don't know what they're going to do against Wallsend, and let's talk about Wallsend. They're without Josh Rufo, they're without Dan Rufo. Gotcha Abshalav has left the club, I believe. Cameron Hughes is suspended. But yeah, look, Hughes and Abshalava, that's player, and even Dan Rufo, that's player stuff. Okay, they've lost Josh Rufo. That's a massive loss for the club, and there's going to be a lot of attention on how they go under Dave Hodgson, Chris Gazzard, and the likes. You know, Hodjo is the official coach, I believe, from what I've read on the Northern New South Wales website. Hodjo has been interviewed as coach and whatnot, but you know, they've got experienced heads there, which I believe will. They're not going to fall away because Rufo's left. I don't believe that, but you never quite know, do you? I've gone Wallsend 2-1 in a very tough physical game at the Athletics field. Singleton 2-1 to defeat South Cardiff. Singleton, though, have a lot of players out, so I probably could have changed this tip. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be on between me and the camera and the people watching the camera. Toronto 1-1 with Cessnock. I spoke to Tony Jasewski last week. I think he asked me, or his assistant might have asked, who are you going to tip next week? And I say, when two teams that are in this bad form and, you know, not really doing much, I just tip a draw. So that's pretty simple there, 1-1. Fortin 1 to be defeated by Belmont Swansea 3. Bell Swans didn't look really that good last week, but I think against Fortin, it'll be a tough one. Fortin do have a physical brand at times, and so do Bell Swans. Again, this game, I could almost put my house on it. This game won't be played at Fortin Park if the amount of rain falls that's predicted, especially with that cricket pitch. Again, I'll come back to the fields in a second. Lake Macquarie City 2 to defeat West Wallsend 1 in the match of the round. And let's talk about this. The grounds this weekend for New FM. I'm not getting the Zone League. I don't really know the grounds too well. If Hunter Simba are playing at home, which they're not. So, but again, Wallsend Park is probably not going to be good underwater. You can probably make presumptions. I can definitely do that in New FM. The Athletics field tomorrow, Cooks Hill versus Wallsend. I'm looking at the forecast and I think it just may go ahead. As you can see here, this is the weather zone app I've got, and that blue is just, you know, 40 to 80 millimeters of rain tomorrow, windy, 50k an hour winds. It's going to be quite wet and wild tomorrow if the Cookers v Wallsend game goes ahead. I have a feeling it will. Whether all the games do, you know, the referee makes a call at 8 o'clock or 7:30. You know, the club make a call, then the ref makes a call. That stage of the morning, I think 17s will get on. But as the day goes on, if it just excuse the language, if it pisses down, then obviously. You know, as the day goes on, the games will be more and more doubt. So we'll see what happens there at the Athletics field. It's not the worst field in the competition underwater, but I definitely have doubts for that. But let's talk about Sunday, where I've got real doubts that there'll be any games on Sunday. Looking at that rain, Singleton with the cricket pitch, it's going to be off. Quite honest. Fortin is the same with the cricket pitch. You can't take any chances there. You only need to look at Valentine, who in the NPL have been told that they have to play at Bell Swans this week because their field's not suitable for NPL. I'm not a big fan of cricket pitches on field. Singo and Fortin, they can't really do anything about that, but definitely if there's any sort of high volume of rain, then those games will be off. Toronto's field underwater, I believe, probably up there with one of the best in the comp, but still I've got doubts that they'll be playing Cessnock. One game that may go ahead, Lakes versus West Wallsend. Macquarie Field is probably up there as potentially the best in the competition. Even that, it's doubtful. It's, you know, Macquarie Field, you picture it, the hills running down, they've got a bit of drainage, but you know, 40 to 80 millimeters is a lot, and I think that most games on Sunday will be off. So we'll be probably looking at some washout games, and The scheduling that Northern normally come up with is a week and a half later, which that is 3 days before the FFA Cup. So teams like Fortin, Bellswan, Singleton, they're going to be in some real strife if these games get rescheduled. Hopefully the federation can come through and sort of maybe push them back an extra couple of weeks, so as not to have those teams have to potentially play 3 games in the space of 5 or 6 days, just depending on the FFA Cup and if they go through or not. Let's say Fortin and Bellswans gets called off this weekend and gets put on the Wednesday night. So they have to play Wednesday, then they have to play Saturday, and then potentially play again on Sunday. That's a lot of games, isn't it? Don't have that same problem with the lower grades, so we'll see what happens. I have a feeling Northern and indeed Newcastle / Macquarie / Hunter Football will all be rescheduling NPL, New FM, Zone League, all of it. There's going to be a lot of games washed out this weekend, and that's why I sort of haven't put in the effort. Sort of due for a break. It's sort of halfway point of the season almost. So that's that, and I'll see you on the weekend if there's any games on. Cooks Hill tomorrow, and looking at maybe going up to Singleton on Sunday, if not Toronto. And yeah, I don't know if there's any games on. I'll have to try and find some games. Maybe pop into a Zone League game somewhere. Surely there's some field somewhere that's just going to be on in pouring rain, puddles everywhere. Sounds like a good weekend of traditional winter football, and welcome to winter, and welcome to the washout round. So that's it. That's the preview. Good luck getting the games on, and good luck if the games are on in the results. I'll see you next week.